Well, I think everybody wants to look young, I think it'll take off a couple of years, and, if it takes off 10, great. If it takes off 5, oh well.
Quite often when I get my tattoos, I don't feel my pains for about 4 to 5 days afterwards because of the endorphins. I had spoken to a few people about tattooing, and they had all said to start the first one small and somewhere where you could hide it. So I put it on my left cheek. Back then, when you had tattoos done, when I was 24, you walk into the shop, and it was a big hairy guy with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, and it was a wooden counter, and, it was number 36 off the wall in blue. Well, that's where it started. So I decided that I was going to make my landmark, and how I did that was I started body modifications, but I did it with a meaning. So I thought, well, I'm gay, so why not use a male figure? I have respect for the elements, why not combine the two? So the overall picture started out with 4 different males, and it turned out, by the time it was done, that each one of them represented the elements. So my left thigh was the air, my right thigh is fire, and my shoulder blades is earth and water. And then I have the sun and the moon on my back, which are obviously the 2 strongest powers, one of day and one of night.
Young is in right now, and that seems to be a priority with everyone. And with a lot of the groups I hang out with and people, looks is a priority, I think anyway, in society. I went to Cuba, and, it was nice, really nice weather down there. And I came back, and all you can notice are these 2 white lines. I actually looked like a raccoon. It was really embarrassing. I can look back at some of my pictures from 4 years ago or 5, and even up to as soon as 2 years ago, you don't see such a depth there, but now I can start to see more of the lines. They seem to be going deeper and deeper inside me.
Now, what I suggested we might want to do is just put a little mark around this area in here. This is what we're going to be filling in today with the article in here, right?
Okay.
And we can often just put a little bit down the corners down here. That's called the marionette lines down in there, right? Because of the depth you have in here, I'd like to put a little combination of both in these lines in here.
That'll be article
and Botox, right? And we'll put some of both in here. And you've got an extra dent right there. We'll put a bit of that in there too.
Most of my childhood that I remember was a very difficult one. We were very poor.
I remember a lot of incidences where my dad would come home from work, and he would go out ice fishing during the winter time to come back to bring the fish that we would eat with our macaroni and tomato sauce. As far as
my life lessons I learned from both my grandparents.
I learned how to cook, and I learned how to take
care of bills.
because by the time I was 9 years old, I was babysitting my brother, who was 7, and then my sister, who was 5. So I had taken on the responsibility of an adult. When I was 14 years old, we did one of those school trip things. And I woke up as we were coming down the DVP, and I saw all the lights, and the whole city just shimmered in my eyes. You couldn't have gotten any more shinier than it already was.
to improve myself.
I'm definitely going to take advantage of it 100%. The people I've spoken to about it, I've had about a 75% positive feedback, and the other 25% have been dead against it. Number one being James, of course.
We met at this bar called The Barn. It's a gay bar. I was interested, and he was interested too. He gave me his number, and we just started talking. And it was basically started off with the phone thing.
You know, we talked for hours and hours on the phone, and that's what it was.
And that was about 9 years ago now. Well, one thing about Richie you have to understand is he's always looking in the mirror. Always. We had this nice big mirror. The cat's
And then I moved off into Etobicoke with my dad and my mom. And unfortunately, she passed away when I was about 9 and a half. And I went off to boarding school in Italy along with my sisters. I stayed there for 3.5 years. And then after that, I came back to Toronto and then decided to venture out on my own a little bit.
License and became a licensed electrician. Worked for a few years,
And in that period, I became ill with kidney failure and found out I had to go on dialysis, which for over 15 years I've been on now. But it's a minor part of my life.
So I heard you're having Botox done.
Oh, you did?
Wow.
Who from?
That's great.
It's like, this is what annoys me most of all. You can still see the
I
lines
see.
there.
Yeah,
You see
yeah.
going up. Looks like some kind of antenna
Yeah.
coming out of some bug or something. This is like the worst job anyone could have, but it's keeping me alive, and I understand that.
There was a long time ago where I used to go to raves and I would be dancing, I'd go to work, I'd be biking, I would inline skate, I walked everywhere. I'm now on disability, so my fatigue level has gotten to the point where I have to watch how much I do during a day.
Why at the age of
38, 39, he began to have these problems with knee pain, back pain, multiple sites of tendinitis. We don't have an answer to that. What we do know is he has degenerative arthritis. Anyone with the level of degenerative arthritis that Danielle has is going to have a very significant amount of chronic pain that the medical field is not going to be able to do much for.
So when it came time to decide how I was going to take care of myself and some of the alternatives, one of the things that kept saying was Tai Chi and the Aquafit classes and using a bicycle that was more fit for myself. So now I go to Tai Chi twice a week, and that helps with
the energy flow.
that helps with the muscle toning. It helps with getting everything working properly. The connection between the medical condition and my tattooing. Today's science has proved that the tattooing releases certain pain endorphins that are released from your brain, so it relieves the pain. And quite often when I get my tattoos, I don't feel my pains for about 4 to 5 days afterwards.
I still strongly encourage my patients to look for other treatment options. Western physicians don't have all the answers. And I don't really know much about tattooing releasing endorphins, but it doesn't really matter. I think that if it's working for Danielle, then I'm completely in favor of it.
10 little injections around the eye area is really not going to hurt me.
I had reached a point when I was around 18, 19, just before I moved to Toronto, where I thought to myself, there's got to be something better in this world. There's got to be some happiness. And I found out that I had a gift for helping people. I had a gift for helping people pass. I guess the other word to use would be dying. The AIDS syndrome hit the gay community hard. I'm not infected myself, but I'm affected. And that's where my gift came from, and I started realizing that I could do these things. I could fundraise, I could volunteer, and I had this endless supply of energy. And my community was hurting. The rest of the world was forgetting them. Just recently, I finished my last event, which was called Daniel's 48-Hour
Sit-a-thon, where I would sit on Church Street in a chair for 2 days straight.
And over the course of 6 years, we raised well over $27,000 in cash and items.
What struck me was the variety of people that show up. I recall very well the evening that we were at the sit-a-thon, and I can't remember who I was standing with, but I heard this Harley Davidson chugging up the street, and this huge biker sitting on Harley Davidson, and everybody sort of moved away from the fence very quickly because we didn't know what was going to happen, and Daniel just sort of reached behind him and said, "Oh, hi, so-and-so," and the guy threw him a $20 bill, and away he went on his Harley Davidson, and I thought, this is amazing.
I help people out. And that's what I'm doing right now. Only because of the degenerative arthritis, one of the things that's unfortunate with is fatigue, and there's chronic pain, so I've had to decrease my activities and find a different way to do things. The one thing everybody does is a bowl of pennies at home, just waiting for something to be done with, and they add up.
So I started a program where now I collect them,
and I turn it into cash. And then when single mothers or single fathers, older ladies, older men who are by themselves, families who need help at Christmas or with birthdays or TTC fare for work, depending on the situation, I use the pennies for people to help them out.
Daniel's an icon in this community and this neighbor, and everybody knows him. You can't walk a block without 10 people stopping and saying, "Hi, Danielle."
You always say you don't like attention, and you try to be invisible, but you can't because everybody knows you. And for crying out loud, look at your hair.
I have one tattoo myself, and I don't know how you can deal with all the pain of getting them done.
He fell asleep. He fell asleep. I was there. I watched him get his head tattooed. He fell asleep.
Well, I was living in a building, and I had realized that a lot of the seniors had nothing to do during the day. So I spoke with management, and I had decided to, with their permission of course, to start up a seniors program. I want to be productive, I want to be active. If I had a little more strength, I would probably work a full-time job. Right now, doing the seniors program, doing dialysis 3 times a week, and other things, it is strenuous. And of course, I'm going to take that slowly, one step at a time. But I'm not going to stop living, not for anyone, no how, no way.
So, everyone, this game is for your trip paid to Casino Rama.
This is a place for them to come to on Friday afternoon and spend a few hours, or we go on trips, go to the island. I try to get them active.
19, 23,
you know, calling bingo is fun, and it's something they really enjoy, and you notice it.
And that's a good bingo, and she went.
I feel being with the seniors on a weekly basis has made me realize that, hey, one day I'm going to get old too, and I hope that there is somebody around to help me deal with that.
70.
Working with the seniors, I know it makes them look in the mirror more closely. You know, you see wrinkles and this and that, and I told them, and I said, you know, you look fine the way you are. Me and you are going to grow old gracefully. I mean, we've been together for so long, and I can't see myself with anyone else. You know, this is permanent.
The process with Danielle today, we've already started on the work, so it'll be a little different than if I was to start new. It's almost like a meditation. If I'm working, I let the design develop on its own. I don't have a lot of preconceived ideas of where it's going except for the basic structure. So if I'm listening to
in a sense, pick up on their energy in whatever way I can, like just hearing little bits of feedback, it goes into the design somehow. It influences where I'm going.
the images on my head were done by Damon, and when I had approached him about it and we had discussed it, the only parameters that I gave him were how far forward he could go, the concept that I wanted, and roughly how much he could work with. And it turns out that what he did was, in fact, these are two mandala wheels, which are Tibetan. Both mandala wheels, in essence, are the same circles, but the patterns are two different patterns.
I take into consideration the whole structure of the person, the way they move, their personality, trying to integrate this design to be a part of them rather than to just be a design or a pattern or an image.
The needle for Botox is actually pretty small. It's probably along the lines of about a 30 gauge. I'm just going to put a bit of this emerald cream on just to numb it up a little bit too for you, okay? So we'll start off with the Botox. How's that? So I'm just going to grasp some of the muscle right here and just come into that right there, okay? I'm just going to give you a little shot there, all right? And again, just up in here. Good. Okay, just relax again. And this is really a pretty simple procedure to perform. Can you feel any of that at all, Richard?
Slightly.
Not bad, though.
No, not at all.
Okay, and you really don't have to do anything with this afterwards. Now, by adding just a little to the depressor muscles of the brow right in here, we can actually sometimes get a little additional, by knocking out these ones, we can get a little extra elevation of the brow there by opening the eye a little bit in this area here. So that's the Botox, and we've just worked on the forehead, the brow here, and the crow's feet now, okay? And we're just going to come down some of these grooves in Richard's face here right now. And it's always a little more tender up here, I'll warn you, than when you start and you move down. So I'm going to get you actually just to hold this with your right hand for a minute and just apply a little direct pressure, okay? The collagen that's in this will get reabsorbed by your body, Richard, over the next few months.
Your body will start to make its own little collagen capsules around each sphere of the polymethacrylate beads.
There. Done.
To me, extreme tattooing is exactly what I've done. I've taken it to that step where I've gone beyond the places where nobody goes. And that's the face, the hands, the feet, or the neck area, places that are not easily covered up.
You may see me working on an area on his head and then work somewhere else. And what I'm doing is I'm just working where I know for sure what's going to work. Just go, okay. Sometimes just like a conversation can just set me off on a tangent, and it takes it somewhere that maybe it never would have gone otherwise. You know, I like to allow as much of that chance and that possibility as I can. You learn a lot about your whole body and how it works in different areas, just feeling that little teeny pinpoint sensation from 1 millimeter to the next. You can feel nothing, and then you can feel something that's more of a warm sensation.
I'm experiencing that euphoria of getting tattooed. The reality is that your body doesn't get certain chemicals to protect itself. You do a journey, and also too, a lot of the tattoos that I have represent strength for me.
Well, Danielle?
Oh, wow.
I think he's a little more assertive. He walks now knowing that people are looking at him and looking at the tattoo.
think the Botox in the article worked fairly well. I'm really, really pleased with the Botox because it does work within 7 days and you start to see results. The only difference I find is that I'm not able to make a mad face anymore. But besides that, I love the results. I'm very pleased with them. For dessert for after.
After his procedure, I didn't really notice anything right away, but his demeanor changed. Like he was happier, and of course more of that going towards the mirror, looking and looking and looking, and I felt basically that it is a waste of money, and I still think it's a waste of money. But seeing the results on him and he's changed. Like I said, he's happier, you know, and he's more confident.
Well, I think I probably will have 4 or 5 more injections, and then maybe I'll consult with Dr. Middleton regarding mini facelift.
The amount of time that we put in to complete the tattoo on my head was roughly about 6.5 hours total. I love it, actually. It's taking a little bit to get used to again. When you do major work like that,
You go from one extreme to the next, and it takes a while to get used to. And I've had a long time to get used to what was up there.
now that the final pieces are in there,
It feels even more
like it's coming to an end. I'm feeling more complete.
I think Daniel's tattoo is amazing. I'm surprised every time I get a chance to see it. And Daniel showed me that tattoo work can be art, and it can be something that you can be proud to wear and show off. Especially when it's on your head. It's very in your face, but it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And he's beautiful.